In this video, we're going to see some adjectives related to moods and emotions. I find that we normally talk about positive emotions and moods, but in this video, we're going to look at negative ones. I'm going to explain these adjectives by categories. And the first category is related to anger. If you are angry, you can also say that you're enraged, which means that you're extremely angry, or furious. But if you're only feeling a little bit angry, you can say that you're irritated. If someone has a bad habit, their partner might get irritated by that bad habit, so it mildly annoys them or bothers them. If you feel resentful, it means that you feel bitterness or a little bit of anger about something that you consider is unfair, and you might even be a little bit jealous. For example, if your parents give your brother a brand new car, but they don't give you anything, you might feel resentful towards your brother. So you're basically a bit angry about something that you feel is unfair. It's not right. Then we have hostile, which means that you're showing aggression. You can say that an environment is hostile, like if you're not in a friendly environment, you can say it is a hostile environment, but a person or a dog can be hostile, which means that they are aggressive. And lastly, we have hateful. Hateful means that a person is full of dislike and full of hate. So if someone has something bad to say about everyone or everything, you can say that they are very hateful, but we can also use it to talk about objects, like comments. I have had many hateful comments about my new hairstyle, for example. Moving on from anger, we are going to talk about sadness now. So the easiest adjective that we normally use to talk about sadness is sad, but there are many others. For example, if you feel hopeless, it means that you think that nothing will improve. So imagine you're in a bad situation and you feel like there's no hope. Then you feel hopeless. Remember that there are a lot of adjectives that end in less, and the opposite is full. So the suffix that we use is full. For example, the opposite of hopeless would be hopeful. It's the same as with other adjectives like useful, useless, or thoughtful and thoughtless. Another one we have is grieving. When someone has lost something or someone, then you say that they are grieving. And this is an adjective as well. So if someone has died and you are feeling sad about that, you're feeling sad about your loss, you can say that she is a grieving wife, for example, because her husband has died. Then we have lonely. If you feel like you're isolated or alone, you can say that you're lonely. This is not the same as the word alone. A lot of people confuse these two. lonely is a feeling. So you say, I am feeling lonely. But alone means that nobody else is around you. For example, I am alone in my living room. If you say that you're alone, you're not necessarily lonely. You don't feel sad. For example, I can be alone in my living room, but I can be happy. But if I say I am lonely in my living room, it means that I am sad. Gloomy means that it is full of low spirits or pessimism, so it's sad. In the UK, the weather is gloomy. The sky is grey. There's no sunshine. It's just sad and it's full of pessimism. So it's very negative. And if you've had a gloomy day, then it means that you've had a sad day. I always associate the word gloomy with like grey, rainy. And lastly, disappointed means that you are sad because you had some expectations and they weren't met. For example, if I thought that I was going to pass the exam and then I didn't, I might be disappointed because I thought that I was going to, but I didn't. The next category we have is about fear. The most typical words that we use are afraid or terrified. Terrified is a stronger feeling than afraid. Other feelings we have is when you feel anxious. That means that you feel nervous or uneasy about something. So maybe you have an exam tomorrow and you feel nervous, so you feel anxious about the exam. And if you feel intense fear, then you might feel panicked. Panicked is a stronger feeling, and some people have panic attacks because they have so much anxiety. They feel so anxious that they panic. Another one that I like is dreadful. So there's a verb in English which is dread. Dread means that you have a bad feeling about something that's going to happen in the future. So if I have my driving test tomorrow and I really hate the idea and I don't want that day to come, I'm dreading it. So if you feel dreadful, it means that you feel fear about something that's going to happen. This is similar to the word apprehensive. If you're apprehensive, it means that you feel uneasy about something that might happen. So I'm apprehensive about my driving test tomorrow. And if you're so scared because you don't have any confidence, then you feel insecure because you don't have any confidence or certainty. If you're doing a presentation and you don't feel confident in yourself, you might say that you feel insecure. We only use this for people. So if you want to say that a neighborhood or a city is not safe, then you say it's unsafe. But a city can't be insecure. I know that in some languages, those words are very similar, so a lot of English learners confuse them. And lastly, we have paranoid. Paranoid is when you feel suspicious and you don't trust anything, and it's quite irrational. So you might feel that people are following you or that people are spying on you. You're paranoid about it. It's not something that's rational. Now let's move on to feelings of guilt and shame. So if you have done something wrong and you feel responsible about it, you will feel guilty. Because you know that you did it and you know that you did something wrong. Then, if you did something embarrassing or awkward, then you might feel embarrassed. The difference between embarrassed or ashamed is that when you're ashamed, you feel like humiliated and it's a stronger feeling. It's kind of a mix of embarrassed and guilty. For example, if I stole something from a shop, I would feel guilty. But if I was doing a presentation and I fell on the floor, I would be embarrassed. And then if I were a child and I stole something from the shop, first I would be guilty. But if my parents were shouting at me and telling me off, then I would feel ashamed because I would feel humiliated and embarrassed, but kind of guilty at the same time. And if you do something bad, and you feel regretful, so you feel regret after doing something, then you say that you feel remorseful. So you really regret what you did. When some children do something bad, they feel remorseful because they know that they did something wrong. Whereas others might not say sorry. We have 2 more categories to go. The next one is rejection and pain that you feel in social settings. For example, if you feel like you're alone, like we said before, you feel lonely. But if you feel like you're disconnected from others and you're separate, then you can say that you feel alienated. For example, if everyone in a group are friends and you're the only person that is on their own, then you can say that you feel alienated. If you are left behind and you don't receive any support, then you can say that you feel abandoned. Maybe you might be abandoned because you have been rejected, which means that you have been excluded. It means that people haven't made you part of the group and haven't accepted you, because accept is the opposite of reject. And if you have a best friend and your best friend starts to date your ex-boyfriend, then you can say that you feel betrayed because your trust has been broken. So you trusted that person, but now you feel hurt because that trust is no longer there. So that is a feeling of betrayal, which is the noun, and the adjective is betrayed. And the 2 last ones are jealous and envious. If you're jealous, it means that you want something that someone else has, like the things that they have, like a dog, a house, children, or achievements, like maybe they have a master's degree that you wanted to do and you feel jealous. People normally talk about jealousy when talking about social media, because when you look on Instagram, you see people's holidays and sometimes you feel a bit jealous because you want what other people have. And then we have envious, which means that you want what someone else has, but you feel more resentment, so it's a stronger feeling. And our last category of the day is about frustration and stress. I think that this is the one that affects us all the most. So if you feel frustrated, it means that you get a bit angry and a bit stuck because you can't do what you want to do. For example, if you're in a traffic jam, you're driving to work and there's a big traffic jam, you might be frustrated because you want to get to work, but there are goals that are being blocked. Then we have helpless. Can you remember that we said before about adjectives that end in less or full? So we have helpless and the opposite would be helpful. So if you feel helpless, it means that you feel like you have no power to change a situation. So you feel powerless, which is also one of those words, powerless and powerful. For example, if you're trying to help someone, but they don't want any help, they don't accept it, you can say that you feel helpless because you can't do anything. Overwhelmed means that you can't do something because the demands that you have are excessive. A lot of people feel overwhelmed at work because they have too many tasks to do in just a few hours. So if someone says, "What's the matter?" and you say, "I feel overwhelmed," it means like you've got too much to do, you've got too much on your plate, and you haven't got enough time to do it. Then we have impatient, which is the opposite of patient, and it means that you are annoyed by delays. For example, in a traffic jam, you might feel impatient because you're feeling annoyed by the delay because you want to get to work on time. And lastly, we have agitated. Agitated means that you are very nervous or restless or worried, and normally you're fidgeting, which means that you're moving about a lot because you feel so stressed. For example, if you are on a walk and you lose your dog, you might be very agitated because you've got a lot of fear and confusion. You feel very upset. And it's something that you can see. You can see when someone is agitated because they're moving around a lot. They're very nervous and stressed. I hope you found this video interesting, and let me know if you know any more negative adjectives related to moods and emotions in the comment section. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Bye.